So we shot my condo a couple years ago, and I lived in downtown Toronto with my husband, and we slowly but surely outgrew it because we got a dog, I had to move all my clothes in, there wasn't enough room. We decided we were gonna look for a really cool space, and we stumbled upon this amazing church loft townhouse conversion. Now, with that said, I'm finally ready to give you a tour just in time for me to leave because we just purchased our second family home in a different area. But first, let me show you this space. It was originally two churches that had combined because of a fire, and they decided to turn this one massive church into 17 different townhomes. This unit was love at first sight. The moment you walk in, you have this massive giant column right in front of us. It has vast height. It has beautiful brick archways and wood trusses, and it really blew us away on the main floor, so we knew that we had to tour the rest of it. And by the time we finished our tour, we came down to the bottom floor, and my husband was like, we need to buy it. My overall aesthetic, as I'm sure most of you know, is relatively monochromatic. A lot of people think that monochromatic is boring and flat, but I think by using actually less color, it let it stand on its own. I didn't want to compete with the elements that were already there. So we have two different types of brick. We have the fire brick, which is basically below the granite column because all of that would have been underground. And then we have this beautiful granite column, which I think is a focal point in our space and also spectacular, but it has a pink undertone. I didn't overemphasize with pink details. I kind of toned it down with more of like a cognac color, so with a brown undertone, using warm whites and warm grays are going to give a nod to that color palette without taking away from it. I don't love putting full wardrobes necessarily in entryways because I find that they're very literal, as in like clearly this is where you store your coats and where you hide all your stuff. We decided to go with a beautiful reeded cabinet that had 4 big compartments for storage. We still put our shoes underneath, but now we put them in baskets, which it hides basically everything. It's pretty great. That is coming with me wherever I go because my maker had said he's never gonna build me anything like that again because it was so much work. The only thing in terms of layout that I struggle with, I mean, I love the way it is set up, but we both kind of lay here on this couch like little sardines trying to watch the TV. But I went for a slightly more feminine sofa. I did a blind tufting detail on the sofa, but then I balanced it with 2 more masculine leather chairs across. My chairs are probably a bit more mid-century modern. They're big and chunky, but my husband wanted them to feel like a baseball glove and wanted to be enveloped within them. So I kid you not, I took his old baseball mitt to my upholsterer, matched the leather, and here we are, and we still have them. So, I mean, I would love if they swiveled, but the swivel is not as cute as the thin metal frame on the bottom. We did a really large ottoman that we push up against the couch. That way the both of us can sit on the couch together. I love that we have this custom tray that we can kind of slide back and forth, but use it for drinks. And then we grounded it with a really dark rug. And I think a lot of people are really scared to do a dark rug because they're worried it's gonna close in the space. But I mean, in this space, this was the perfect opportunity and it hides everything. I wanted a fireplace. It wasn't in the budget. We wouldn't be able to get a gas fireplace because we're in a historical building. So we opted for a console table / fake fireplace scenario. And it worked out really great. It cost 1/5 of the price of what the other one would have cost. And we did a curved TV actually because of the real estate of the brick wall in between our 2 sets of drapes, and we put it on a swivel. And all of my electronic boxes are actually Velcroed to the back. It just keeps everything. We have a universal remote. It controls all of our things, and you never have to see any cables ever, and that's the way that it should be. The kitchen's the center of the home. You can see it from our front door. It was a spot that I knew I was gonna spend a ton of time in, so why not start with that? There weren't any lights there before. We have these beautiful big antique brass pendant lights with a darker iron stem. We added the shiplap detail on the back end because there was a seam on the finish behind. It's almost like they didn't even finish it, so that was driving me crazy because I could see it from the front door. So we added just a black shiplap, cheap and cheerful, a couple $100 and just a can of paint and some wood. We added a brass faucet We changed all the hardware to black, and we upgraded the hood fan and also the backsplash. Antique brass, specifically antique brass, has a beautiful patina. The more it's touched, the more it's used. So we did a more modern hood fan in the sense that we went with a stainless steel hood fan, and then we added a beautiful riveted brass trim around it. It cost me a fortune. Don't put that in the reel. The bar was something that I knew I wanted to do from a storage perspective. I did want it to have some sort of detail, so I do have this little lip around the edge of the door frames, and we have antique handles that are almost campaign dresser style handles. We did oak veneer uppers with a glass detail because I wanted to feel like a traditional bar at a restaurant. And then we also did a granite counter. I worry a little bit about my marble in my kitchen. I just wanted to not have to think about it. And to be fair, it was definitely cheaper than any marble slab that I had initially selected. We have this beautiful column, which I love, but it is massive. It's basically 4 square feet of space that was taking away from my dining room area. And then we decided, we had a round table actually at the condo, which I loved, and 4 armchairs. And I thought, why not? Let's do it again. We went with 4 armchairs in almost like a chocolate brown velvet. Even though we have a full living room right beside it, you spend so much time gaggling and laughing and drinking around a dining room table. Probably one of my favorite spaces in my entire house is my powder room because I just finished it. I struggled with light in there. I wasn't quite sure how to brighten it up if I wanted to, so I thought, you know what? We're gonna go dramatic. We're gonna go all black. So tying it with details that were in my kitchen, we did a different type of paneling, but very similar. Because it's such a tight space, we did an angled vanity. We did a wall-mounted brass faucet, and then we just kind of let the art speak for itself. Moving to our second floor, my gallery wall is this massive space, which is very hard to shoot, so unfortunately for my Instagram. But I have floor to ceiling picture frames of all different pieces of art that I really love. Our guest bathroom, I redid an IKEA vanity, added a vessel sink and added a splash and a counter. And then I have 2 really great pieces of art, a cool mirror. So that was a cheap and cheerful way to improve it, and it looks completely different. Going into my guest room, I had a more boho vibe for this space. I have these beautiful big jute pendants that are on either side flanking the bed. And then we have this wonderful walkway. It's almost like a catwalk that runs all the way down, and you see my beautiful arched windows. On our 3rd floor, we have our principal bedroom, our laundry room, our closets, and our walk-ins. So it is quite a large space, and the great thing is I basically have a dressing room on one side, so I have 2 IKEA dressers actually, because they're the only things that would fit up the stairs. And I have a massive king bed with 2 nightstands. Our laundry room, I redid a teeny bit, I repainted, added some towel work on the floor. It's really tiny. And then we have our built-in closets up the stairs. We wanted to utilize that space as a principal suite. The benefit is that we have an open loft space in our bedroom. We get this amazing north-facing light because we are so high up in the church. It's spectacular. I mean, it gets everything that you would want, but it also still feels like a home, and it also still feels like a suite. The 4th floor is also a winning feature for all of these units. The main space when you walk into the bathroom, we have a marble shower, we have a double vanity, and then we have our tub. That's in a dormer, so it feels like you're almost in a tent in the sky. And that, I mean, when we had the open house, I think the amount of people that got in that tub and just wanted to take a bath was more than 10 people. And I love that fact because I think it's such a cool experience that you're not really gonna get anywhere else. It makes all of the architectural details sing with or without me. I think my home looks beautiful as is, but with all of the details, it really feels like this cool, hip, downtown, urban loft, but also historical loft vibe. The best part about living here was the beauty of the architectural elements. Like, you don't find conversions that are done as well as this. You don't find people who want to keep that detail and that heritage and that history and that appreciation. When you look at the detail of the wood trusses and you see the little carvings, by the time you're on the 4th floor and you see that amount of detail that some carpenter chiseled out, you're blown away. you're 50 to 60 feet up in the air, where they didn't think that this was gonna turn into someone's bedroom or a bathroom or a bathtub. And that is the part that I think I will miss the most, is the view laying on this couch, looking up at the ceiling. It's spectacular. The detail, the workmanship that went into building things like this, it's not done anymore. And that's something that I will cherish and appreciate and hopefully take with me to my next house.